Hello, welcome.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
We are very, very grateful that you're here with us tonight, especially given the weather. I'm going to start off by asking, how did this project come to each of you? What was your initial relationship to, I mean, was it first Kevin Hart got cast? Was it first that Neil Berger was the director?
I mean, Neil, you can talk about it from your side
Well,
first.
they actually, the producer sent me the script, and I had seen the movie that it's based on, and I turned it down because I thought, why would I want to remake this beloved international hit? It just seemed like a losing proposition. And then I think in the interim, then I turned it down, and then Kevin became a part of it. And then the script came back to me about a year later, and it had been, I think you had worked with John a bit on the
John Hartmere.
The screenwriter on the and it was substantially better, and also things had changed in the culture politically, and it suddenly seemed like a really good movie to make because it was about people finding common ground and through small acts of compassion and respect. And I suddenly thought, well, that was a movie that needed to be made right now. And I, looking at the script and various other things, I felt like I knew how to do that. So that's how I came into it.
For me, it was, the opportunity was brought to me, and I think it was something that I entertained because I was looking for something to show a difference in my talent. I said, I know that comedy's been going so well, but it's time for me just to make a shift, give my audience, my fan base, something else just to see. Not to say that I'm not going back to comedy, but I just wanted to throw a little curveball. And this project was the perfect project to do that. Like Neil said, with the issues that were going on at the time, we had a unique opportunity to address things in a really smart way. And for me, it was never about doing the remake. It was about how do we do our version of that movie, because that movie is such a classic. It's such a good film, and all talent involved did such an amazing job. I was very curious to know how we were going to change and maneuver accordingly with the times of today, and implement those things into the script. So as the pieces to the puzzle kept coming in, everybody was having the same type of conversation. Bryan, myself, and that's when I knew that it was the right thing. It was what I needed at the time, and the company that I was in made me even more secure with doing the project. So it was an opportunity that I stepped up to the plate and took full advantage of.
And it shows, because I must say, you are one of the most beloved comic performers these days. I first saw you in Grudge Match, and then you just amassed one hit after another. Get Hard, Central Intelligence, recently Night School, Jumanji. Here you do not go for easy laughs. In fact, I was kind of amazed by the heft, the dramatic heft of the performance. Was it more of a challenge for you to do something like this?
I don't want to say challenge, because I'm very confident in my ability to act. I know where my talent lies. So for me, it was just more about making sure that I came prepared and that I took full advantage of the opportunity. I think for all of the parties that were involved, mainly Neil, it was which Kevin was going to show up. Everybody was
every day.
Energetic, funny, looking for the joke. Mr. Deliver the punchline. Captain Improv. Is he showing up to this particular film, or do I have the Kevin that understands what we need? And that's what Neil and my conversation was before going in. And I had to tell Neil, trust me. Like I'm well aware of what I have to do, what I want to do, and what needs to be done. And it wasn't until we really got into rehearsals that you saw, oh shit, he's got it. Like
That's not entirely true.
When was the fear gone?
No, I mean, I obviously did have. I was, when I heard that Kevin was involved, I love Kevin's work, but I was like, can he do this? Does he? Certain people can and certain people can't. And so I met Kevin, and well, first of all, I looked at everything that he had done. I'd seen quite a bit, but I hadn't seen everything. I looked at everything, and one thing that I saw is that Kevin is an incredible storyteller. So I thought right then and there was an important thing. And then also, I mean, I think what's great about comedians in dramatic roles or as actors in general is that comedians have great timing, which is really important. And so, but the main thing was when I met Kevin and I expressed my, you know, skepticism
Concerns.
or uncertainty or whatever.
Concerns.
I was just, you know, and I, you know, because I wanted to know how he saw it as well, and if we saw it the same way, and I think I kept asking you again, and I was like, but are you, you know, do you? I was kept on, as I do, sort of putting it to you in different ways, and finally, Kevin, in that first meeting, actually just dropped into the character and started responding to me as the character. He sort of lowered his voice, and he became the guy right in front of me. Do you remember doing that? And I was like, okay, I'm good. And then, yes, and then in rehearsals, we kind of kept honing and things like that. But really, from that moment when you did that, then I knew. And we also were talking about where you were from and also other people that you knew that were this guy, exactly, and that you knew this guy and knew how it, anyway, so all of that was reassuring. And then, and really from that moment on, I knew it was going to work.
And me and Neil from two different sides of the spectrum. You know, I'm more of the, I got it. And when I say that, I know, like, I got it. We're fine. I'll be good. I can't wait to get to work. And that's enough for me. And I just know that I'm gonna go home and do the work. But Neil is on my side. When you say that, he's like, well, let me see it. And you're like, no, I don't have to. Like, Neil, I got it. This is gonna be great. Like, I can't wait
I believe
to do it.
you, but
he's like, no, I hear it and I know, but like, Neil is so, everything is very calculated, and he just, you know, he's an artist, and I had to understand that to go, okay, I get it. He's not questioning my talent. He needs to see it, to process it, to make sure that he's diving into a situation that he can fully invest in and not have to babysit his talent to get what he wants. And when we got that connection, before going to rehearsals, before getting to the set, it was okay, we're gonna hit the ground running. Everybody's fully aware of what this can be. Kevin is locked in. And then when Bryan shows up, and Bryan's locked in and has done his research, and we are both now invested in making this the best possible movie we can by doing justice to the characters. We want to make sure that we dive into it. That's when Neil goes, oh my God, this is going to be
well, right. My job's easy, and they have such good chemistry. Yeah. So, you know, once I saw that was happening, it was great.
I mean, it feels, when we're watching it, so improvised. It almost felt like you were riffing and doing things without, I mean, there were moments when Bryan Cranston's eyes suggested to me that you were doing something he wasn't expecting, and he was just laughing or going with it. How much improvisation was there? Or was it pretty much sticking to the script?
Not a lot.
I would say almost zero.
Yeah, wow. Not a lot.
Improvisation and all that stuff about with Bryan, quite frankly, Kevin is hilarious, but it's also good acting. I mean, he just does it. It's a really tight script, and to me, as a filmmaker, that's important to have that journey and all those things built in, rather than it all sort of taking off in different directions. And that's, I think, why you know, the movie does work, and that's why the characterizations are so work, and that's why the emotions pay off later. So there really is a little bit, but hardly
very small amount.
Yeah.
But that's what I had to buy into.
Right.
I was fine with that because I didn't want to go. It's so easy for me to find the funny, and if I'm going off on tangents to deliver the funny and just doing it, then I lose the authenticity and the grounded version of who Del was. So I didn't mind sticking to the script, like doing exactly that and finding those beats within what was there. You're not making the moments funny. The material is speaking for itself, and the cadences of the scene and the characters are what you may laugh at. Like when I barge into the room, when I want to get my paper signed, and I ask him to sign the paper, you may laugh, but you're not laughing at a joke. You're laughing at the ignorance behind a frustrated guy that just wants to get out. And when he goes, yo, sign it, he's like, well, what are you supposed to sign it with? I don't know, whatever you can, you can't use your arms, whatever that is, it's not funny, but you're laughing at it, but it's real. It's what a guy in that position without knowledge or know-all is going to say or do. And I credit Neil and keeping me in the space to stay exactly there. And I think Bryan staying where he stayed helped me elevate my moments and my performances because he was so locked in. So you're feeding off the talent.
And to be clear, there was no keeping you. Kevin was there. He wasn't going off and trying to make something funnier or jokier. He was right, with it the whole time.
Locked in.
Locked in, truly, actually, for the most part.
Now, your film is quite faithful to the original, Les Intouchables, The Intouchables is how it was released. And it transposes, obviously, from Paris to New York. But that film is based on a true story. Mm-hmm. The book was written by, let me make sure I get it right, Philippe Pozzo di Borgos, autobiographical tale, A Second Wind.
Right, and actually Abdel Salou, who's
exactly,
the original, he wrote his own book as well.
So did you, either of you, meet either with Philippe, who apparently lives in Morocco?
Yeah, I think they both do. But Bryan spoke to him.
Yes, Bryan did.
We did not meet them, and in a way, when we first started talking, and I said that why remake this movie. At a certain point, I mean, when Kevin said at a certain point, we were like, when we discovered why we should be making this movie now, why it was made, then it didn't matter anymore. We weren't thinking about that movie. I didn't care anymore about that movie, except that even though I enjoyed it, but I wasn't necessarily trying to outdo that movie or do it. I felt like this movie could stand on its own, even though it's based on those things that I was talking about people, finding a common humanity, basically, and people understanding that.
And Abdel Salou, because even though the French film has the caretaker being from Africa, he was actually Algerian, if I remember correctly. Mm-hmm. And he wrote his own book called You Saved My Life in 2012. So did you have contact with him?
No, I didn't. I didn't have contact with him. The only person that I talked to was the actor.
Omar Sy.
Omar, yes, yeah. I talked to Omar before we did the film, and of course I watched the original, but I didn't.
You did that sort of for his blessing.
I did it. Well, it was more just to say, hey, you know, we're doing this, and I want you to understand we're not doing it with the intent to outdo what you did or to make a better movie. Yeah. You know, we're trying to do a version of this for the States. We're trying to modernize it and, you know, make it as much of our own as we possibly can. And I just want you to know going into it that I respect the job that you did in the film, and you're a talented guy, and I'm hoping that my performance makes you just as happy with me as I was with you. So it was more about just reaching out and doing that. But, you know, I wished I had talked to the man who it was all based off of, because as we got deeper and deeper and Bryan shared so much with me, I mean, to find out that these guys are still friends until this day, they still communicate, they still talk, to just know in depth how deep the relationship was and how it started, it just makes you appreciate conversation and honesty. It makes you appreciate listening and learning to understand what you may think you know, but you don't. And I really respect the journey of these two men and that friendship that was built. Yeah. Because Bryan and my journey as playing these characters is one that just progressed into something so amazing, because we're coming from two different sides of the spectrum. And me as a black guy that was incarcerated, that's trying to get ahead, but feeling like I can't get ahead because the white man doesn't want me to get ahead, and it's a white man's world, and you being a white man with money, what do you have to complain about? It's perfect. And him saying it's not perfect just because I have money doesn't mean I'm happy. Look at what I don't have. Don't tell me what to do. Like there's such a battle of opinion. And it's not until you stop and listen and understand one's frustration that you can come up with a solution. And I think in today, that's the biggest problem that we have. We don't listen. We do a lot of talking, but we don't listen. We don't comprehend the frustration of one situation or problem. We assume because of who they are and where they come from that it has to be this. And that's the lesson that I got out of this movie. Phil assumed, I assumed, and after those assumptions were broken, our hearts were open and we were able to live life to the fullest and find happiness through each other's life and story and education.
Yeah.
It's a unique thing, man. Really, really dope thing.
I mean, I even love the fact that music becomes the expression of that, because opera is obviously Philip's thing, and your character brings in Aretha.
Yes.
And I didn't know whether that was in the script or whether that was something that came from.
No, it was all in the script, and it was all, and that song that, or the Nessun Dorma that Aretha does, I mean, in a way the script was, I mean, our movie is somewhat faithful to, the original, but on the other hand, there's things in it like that quite frankly transcend the original, and that as you say, those musical, sources, and the fact that actually she did sing that song, and just gives you chills. I mean, you should go look at the original of her singing that at the Grammys.
She learned it
actually. It's incredible. She sat in for Pavarotti, and sometime in the '90s, and it just sends shivers.
But the real,
and but the script was kind of built around that. John found that, and then worked that back into it, and worked the opera into that, and the Aretha into it. It's all in there.
And it's once again, you're showing the difference in the worlds, because my first reaction to opera is what and why. Like, no, this ain't it, and it's so loud. It's an honest reaction of an individual that just doesn't have the knowledge. And the first thing that I get upset that you don't have the knowledge about is Aretha. And Bryan's way of showing me that he's listening to what I'm saying was playing me a version of what he loved that was done by a person that I educated him about, that he had to know. That was his moment of saying, I hear you, but look at this world. When this world got combined, look at the beauty that came from it. Yeah. There's so many innuendos and just really underlying messages in the film, if you really watch it, that you'll go, wow, like I see it. I really get the story that's being told.
We go wow the way that Del goes wow when he hears the aria from the Magic Flute. Da-da-da-da-da-da. And it's kind of magical. But by the way, there's a weird coincidence though for me, because in 2004, my guest was Javier Bardem with the film The Sea Inside, where he played a paraplegic. And Nessun Dorma is
in that.
The music that you hear when he's lying in bed as well. I mean, it's maybe it's a coincidence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it is.
Yes. Yes, we didn't steal it. If that's your question.
No, it's never a question.
I think it worked backwards from the Aretha having sung that. And
exactly.
Then,
I mean, in my world, I teach at Columbia. It's never stealing. It's always homage.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Well, let's just say we did that.
Yeah.
It's homage.
Now, I gather also that before filming began, you and Bryan Cranston visited former football player Eric Legrand.
Yeah.
He had been paralyzed in 2010 while playing football at Rutgers. What did you learn from observing him during physical therapy? I mean, was that an important source for the film?
This was a really powerful experience. I mean, Eric is an incredible guy, and as is his mother, who is right there by his side all the time. And it's hard to say what it's so complex, and to see what a charismatic guy he is, and how he has made a life that's as strong as any of our lives. Obviously he went through this severe injury, which knocked him back. He was a physical person. He was a football player and an athlete, and the low that he hit, and then how he climbed back out of it, and is an incredibly inspirational guy, actually. And he so it's inspiring, you know. It's
came to
powerful.
set.
Yeah, he came to set. You know, I'm still in contact with him, and it's amazing. And we were we saw him at a place called the Kessler Institute, which is in New Jersey, and we also worked with some people at a place called the McGee Institute, which is in Philadelphia. And you know, we saw Eric then, but we also saw many other people and talked to them, and you know, watched what their lives were like and what, you know, people that had just recently been injured and others that had, you know, were well into their lives.
I mean, the one thing that you're never going to do is understand what these people are going through. You're not going to be able to relate. You can only have a high level of admiration and respect for the spirit that's able to be maintained.
Yeah.
And when we met him, this guy's spirit was so vibrant, was so positive when he came on set. Happy at the fact that awareness was being brought to quadriplegics, and happy at the fact that we embraced him and talked to him and didn't just talk about his injury with him when he was on set. It was making sure it was okay, treat him like an individual. And you saw somebody that is catered to on a daily basis roll in the satisfaction of being outside of that. That moment of meeting the people that were there, talking, and just literally, man, saying, yo, I just want to say, I said, dude, I'm a fan of you. Like your spirit, like you're giving me chills, because what reason do I have to not be up when I'm looking at you and you're up? This guy was smiling, just talking, happy. For me, there's a different warming that comes with meeting an individual like that still finds a light, that still finds life to hold on to. And the individual that I met, and Eric was a remarkable man that I'm very fortunate that I got to meet. And Bryan raves about him as well. And the caretakers that we spent time with, you know, these people are unbelievable. These people dedicate their lives to making sure that these spirits are up on a daily. These people dedicate hours of their lives to this individual to make sure that they have whatever they need to get through a day. And I wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have been educated on the task that go within that job if I didn't spend time with the women that came to set to teach. And I left with a high level of respect and admiration and appreciation for people like that we have in the world today. So I'm hoping that they watch the film and feel that we did their jobs justice in a high level of service by bringing a proper amount of attention to it. That's what I'm hoping that they walk away from it with.
That's great.
After they see it.
Yeah. Now, this film, as far as I understand, was in a kind of distribution limbo because it had been a Weinstein Company release. It even won the Audience Award at the 2017 Aspen Film Festival when it was still a Weinstein.
Correct.
What did it take to get a new distributor? Because I gather this will be released around early January by STX. January 9th. STX Films and Lantern Entertainment.
Right.
I'm just curious, I mean, was this a very difficult process, or?
Of course, you know, that's not an easy process. You have to understand that there's a lot of work that goes into making a movie, and one individual doesn't do it. That's the reality of it. You have a team of people that put blood, sweat, and tears into a film, from your cast, from your crew, to production, to studio. There's so many people involved. And in this particular case, you know, when those things happen, you're looking at the hard work of so many being thrown to the side. So I think the people, actors, and everyone else included, were very lucky to have people that were interested in the content of the film, that were willing to fight and figure out a way to get it and get it out to be seen and dissociated from the situation that it was with. You know, so in this particular case, you know, we haven't talked about it because we don't want to tarnish what's here at this point and the hard work that went into making it. So we're very lucky and fortunate to have the production company involved that we have in now that came, that bought into it, and that's supporting it at a very high level. And hopefully we get the response that we're looking for from our audience and, you know, the fan base that's coming in, watching and supporting the talent that's involved in it as well.
Oh, no, I agree. I raise it because I know that it's very challenging. Quite a few excellent films have been made that haven't yet been distributed. And I've been waiting for the upside because I've known Neil Berger for many years, having seen every single one of his theatrical releases.
Sorry.
And I thought, no, I got to tell you, I have always felt there's such a versatility about this guy's work because he does mainstream, he does independent. He makes films about women protagonists, like I guess Divergent would be the best example.
Right.
And I loved The Lucky Ones. If you've never seen this film, I urge you. Rachel McAdams, Tim Robbins, Michael Pena, the story of 3 vets who come back from Iraq and how they're kind of thrown together and find a way to help one another. These are really varied and nuanced movies that I think deserve to be seen. I do have one question, and I know we have to wrap things up early tonight for the weather and for the schedules here. But television has been a very important medium for both of you. You, Neil, directed the pilot of Billions and then the first 2 episodes.
Right.
You were also executive producer of the TV series Limitless, CBS, based on the film you directed with Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
And in a second, I'll just mention a few of the things that Kevin Hart's done with television.
I think all my TV stuff got canceled, so be careful. Not sure how much actually made it.
Well, I mean,
I have to go on
your exec producer, well, all right.
No, I don't want to shame you.
No, Comedy Central 2 stand-up comedy series. Kevin Hart presents Heart of the City, the untitled Kevin Hart stand-up series. You also do a ton of stand-up.
He always has his name in it.
What's
He
good-
has to have his name in it.
Well, what I found out is that the stuff on TV with me acting in it just didn't
so
make
good.
it. So I just went to producing. I was like, just keep me out of the shit. Maybe it's gonna stand a chance. Real Husbands, I think we had great success with Real Husbands, and I was a producer.
Exactly, Real
acting
Husbands
on
of
that.
Hollywood.
Outside of that, you know, my TV career, I've had a very, I think I would call it a rocky road, Neil. There were some shows, there were some things that were
Keep
actually,
trying, you'll be fine.
some shows were going actually really well until I came in the mix.
Oh,
There was a show called Jake in Progress. It's a very funny story. John Stamos was a friend of mine. He was going back to TV. Jake in Progress was a show about this publicist, and it was about the publicist and his clients and the world of a publicist. And he calls me, he's like, Kevin, man, the show's been going well. I have a great cameo for you. I want you to be one of my clients. And my name was Nugget. I was like a basketball player that was like big on personality. So he was signing me. He's like, man, I just want to bring you aboard. We're just going to get you for like 6 episodes. I was like, oh, okay. Well, how many have been picked up? He's like, we got to order 13, so I'm just going to sign you into 6, and we'll create as we go. I was like, oh, man, that's great, right? You know, it's a young version of me, so this is right on time. You know, money is definitely not coming in, so I'm like, thank God, please, right? I do 1 episode, and the next morning, I wake up, and I'm like on the internet, and it goes, Jake in Progress, cancel. And I'm like, what? He just said it was going good, man. I take 1 episode. As soon as I take 1, it got canceled. And I called him, I was like, it was me, wasn't it? It was me. They didn't like me. He said, no, man, it wasn't you. It was just the network. And I was like, you don't have to tell me. I'll talk to you later, John. I'm in a depressed state right now. And I literally I think that was probably the last thing that I did before Real Husbands, because I felt that I just didn't have the Midas touch with TV. Very true story.
But I'll tell you, the Midas touch you have with movies, I mean, the box office grosses on the films in which you've starred, especially recently with Dwayne Johnson, for example, many people would give a whole lot to have that Midas touch in terms of the
I'm a
movies.
big deal there. No, there I'm
Yeah.
yes, 100%.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think you are.
Yes,
and Neil, you know, damn, we don't have, I really wish we had time for more, but I've been told that we have to end this within 1 minute. So all I can do is, hey, I mean, you've managed to do a TV series out of Limitless.
Yes.
Maybe if the upside does well enough, we can envision something that would continue of the lives of,
What would that
of
be?
Philip and, I don't know.
I mean, it would be, well, Dell would definitely-
Paragliders.
Yeah, so.
oh yeah.
Do you want to tell that story before we go? The paragliding?
No, because we're trying to pretend that you did it.
Okay, so we should tell it. No, I have to tell it. I have to tell it. I have to tell it. I have to tell you.
Go ahead.
Okay, I know we're on time, but this is one that I want people to know.
I mean,
So,
I'm good with time. I know we
this is
got
fine.
you out.
I do, but this is okay. So we're filming the movie, and as we're approaching the end, you know, there's scenes coming up in the script, and there's the scene where Phil and Del, you know, they basically go paragliding. Del surprises Phil with paragliding trip that Phil has no idea. So as we're coming closer, you know, Neil and some other people approach me on set and like, hey, you know, we want to talk about the, you know, the paragliding scene, you know, just to make sure everybody's on the same page with it. And I was like, yes, what? Of course, yeah, let's talk about it. So it was like, we're going to go to, I think they were like Pittsburgh or somewhere. They were like, we're going to go to shoot it. I was like, why are we going there? What? Aren't we going to be on like a stage with green screen or something? So they're like, no, we're going to do it. We're going to get you guys up there. And I was like, get who up there? like, we're going to get.
I said, Brian's gonna do it.
Yeah, Brian's gonna do it.
I'm telling Brian, Kevin's gonna do it.
So listen, they said something to me. This is the first time they got to see like the real angry black side of me. I was like, I ain't getting no fucking thing going paraglide. It's like Brian's doing it. He's okay with it. I don't get two shits what Brian is doing. I'm not going up there, man. Y'all gotta figure it out. So, this is at the end of the movie. Nobody knew that I wasn't doing it. So I'm like, ain't nobody asked me. All you had to do was ask me, and I would have told you I wasn't doing it. I'm not getting up there, man. They create this whole set where they have to basically put me in a harness, pull me in the air, and strap me in as if I'm paragliding. And it's just swinging back and forth. And I'm like, this is good for me, man. It's just like it, Neil. I give you whatever you want. And Brian is like next to me. And he's like swinging back and forth. And it's just not what it's supposed to be. But I'm so happy because I'm safe. I'm so safe. So they get their shooting mine, and then they shot Brian. Brian went and did it for real.
Brian really did it.
He did it for
I
real.
did it too. I directed Brian from In the Air.
They really went up and did it.
Yeah.
I sent my stunt man. My stunt man
Who
went
was
up and
really
did it.
good.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Well, it's the magic of movies. We've just heard about, I guess, the backside of the upside, and all I can say is
Kevin, show us the backside of the upside.
I really appreciate this movie for the dramatic beats as well as the comic. I congratulate you on what I think is your richest performance so
Thank you
far,
so
and
much.
Neil, a great addition. Thank you all for joining us. Be here with
I
us.
will say, please, before I go, look, I really want you guys just, please, you know, spread the word, say positive things about the movie. But I will say my performance is nothing without the people that I had the opportunity of working with. And Bryan Cranston, Nicole Kidman are not here. But when I tell you, I was a kid in a candy store. I got to work with, you know, what I consider to be two of the best in the acting game. And the way that I was embraced was unbelievable. And my director, Neil Berger, unbelievable, man. So it takes a team, you know, and there is no I in team. So guys, thank you for this. These
But he
things
is
are
so
cool.
good, isn't he? In it?
Thank
I mean, it's
Yeah.
really.
I really appreciate it. Thank you. I appreciate the time, guys.
Thank you.
Oh.
All right.